They told you wealth was the size of your house, the brand on your wrist, the number on your screen. But somewhere deep inside, it isn't true. You've seen men with everything still pacing the floor at night. You've seen success without peace and comfort without joy. We live in an age that sells us abundance but leaves us empty. Every scroll, every ad, every post whispers that if you just get a little more, you'll finally rest. More followers, more money, more status. But the more you chase, the further peace runs. Look around. The modern man is drowning in noise. He wakes up with a phone in his hand, already behind before he's even begun. He moves through a day designed to exhaust him, trading his time for things that do not fill him. He smiles on the outside, but inside he's burning, caught between wanting more and wanting out. You can feel it, can't you? That quiet frustration when you buy something new and feel nothing the next day. That tension when you work hard all week, yet still wonder, what's the point? We chase a mirage, a promise that one day we'll arrive and peace will greet us there. But peace was never waiting at the end. It was buried beneath our chase. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "He who lives in harmony with himself lives in harmony with the universe." The Stoics understood something we've forgotten. They knew that wealth isn't about control over the world, but mastery over oneself. They faced hunger, war, loss, yet found calm in the middle of it, because peace wasn't something they earned. It was something they returned to. In our time, we confuse the external with the internal. We think fixing our circumstances will fix our soul. But if the noise outside dictates the calm inside, you're enslaved by things you can't control. The rich man with a restless mind is poorer than the quiet man with a steady heart. The truth is, peace of mind is the highest currency. Because peace is what lets you enjoy everything else. Without it, all your possessions become burdens. The house feels like a cage. The job feels like a sentence. Even freedom feels like chaos. The modern man doesn't need more luxury. He needs less noise. He doesn't need to chase comfort. He needs to master contentment. So here's your challenge today. Take 10 minutes of silence. No phone. No music. No distraction. Just sit with yourself. Let the thoughts rush in, the worries, the desires, the regrets. Watch them like waves crashing against a rock. You are the rock. They are the waves. And when the tide settles, you'll notice something powerful. The quiet isn't empty. It's full. Do this daily. Guard your peace like you guard your paycheck. Because peace is your real salary. If you can sit with yourself and feel enough, you are richer than 99% of men walking this planet. Wealth is not about what you have, but about what you can live without. When you stop depending on external noise to feel okay, you begin to build true power, the kind that can't be taken from you. So ask yourself, what am I chasing that's costing me my calm? What possessions, people, or pressures have convinced me that peace must be earned? Let go, even just a little. You'll find that the less you cling, the freer you become. And when that freedom grows, so does clarity. You'll see that money is not evil, nor is ambition. They're tools. But when tools become idols, you become their servant. When you master your mind, the tools serve you. In a world that glorifies chaos, your calm is rebellion. In a time when men shout to be heard, your silence will speak louder. Because wealth, real wealth, is not measured in dollars, but in the ability to sleep peacefully knowing you've chosen your own pace. Remember this. The man who has peace within cannot be shaken by what's without. You can lose money, status, even people, but if you keep your peace, you've lost nothing that matters. So tonight, when the world tries to pull you back into noise, step away. Close your eyes, breathe, and remind yourself, I already have what I was chasing. Because someone once said, wealth is peace of mind, and they were right. Cinematic outro. The world tells you to keep running. But maybe the real game is learning how to stand still. Maybe wealth isn't in what you gain, but what you no longer need to chase. And when you finally understand that, you'll realize you were never poor, just distracted. True wealth is waiting in the quiet, and that quiet is you. They say time is money, but that's not true, is it? Because money lost can be earned again, but time, once gone, never returns. Yet still, the modern man spends his time like it's cheap. He trades his days for dopamine, his nights for numbness, and his purpose for convenience. We live in an era of infinite connection, Yet we are more disconnected than ever, from others, from nature, from ourselves. The average man today is not broke in dollars, but bankrupt in presence. His mind is everywhere but here. He wakes up already tired. The first thing he touches is not his heart, but his phone. He scrolls through other people's lives before he even steps into his own. He moves through his day reacting, not creating. Each buzz, each notification, each headline pulls a thread from his focus until there's nothing left but distraction. And in this quiet erosion of attention, his peace dies. Slowly, silently. He doesn't even notice it at first, the anxiety, the fatigue, the shallow breathing. But over time, he starts to feel hollow, like he's living life behind a screen, even when he's outside. Seneca once wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." 2,000 years ago, the Romans struggled with the same thing we do now, the illusion that tomorrow will always come. But time is not infinite. Every scroll, every meaningless distraction is a withdrawal from the only account that truly matters, your lifespan. The lie modern men believe is that productivity equals purpose. That if they're busy, they're progressing. But busyness is not progress. It's avoidance dressed in ambition. You fill your schedule because silence feels uncomfortable. You work endlessly because rest feels undeserved. You chase money to feel safe, but it's your attention that's being stolen. The truth is, the modern man is not lazy, he's overstimulated. His focus has been fragmented by systems that profit from his distraction. But peace requires presence, and presence demands discipline. So here's the shift. Wealth isn't what you own. It's how you spend your attention. The richest man is not the one who is everything, but the one who fully experiences what he has. Try this for 1 hour today, live without input. No screens, no background noise, just the raw experience of being alive. Notice how your mind resists. Notice how quickly it reaches for stimulation. That's your addiction speaking, not to substances, but to escape. Sit with it. Breathe through it. And when the craving to check something fades, you'll feel something rare, stillness. This is your mind returning home. When you stop outsourcing your peace to pixels and start reclaiming your attention, you begin to see clearly. You start noticing the texture of life again, the warmth of sunlight, the rhythm of your breath, the sound of your own thoughts. These small things are free, yet they make you richer than most. Because the truth is, your mind was never designed to process this much chaos. It craves simplicity. And simplicity is not poverty, it's liberation. So from today, protect your time like treasure. Schedule silence the same way you schedule meetings. When you eat, when you work, work. When you rest, rest. Do one thing at a time with full attention. Because divided focus is divided life. You don't need to meditate on a mountain or quit your job to find peace. You just need to remember that peace exists in moments, not milestones. In 2025, the world will keep screaming for your attention. The algorithms will grow louder, the distractions sharper, but so can your discipline. Every time you choose stillness over noise, you make a deposit into your peace. And the compound interest of peace is clarity. Clarity helps you see what truly matters. And once you see that, your choices begin to align, not with what's popular, but with what's right for you. Remember this, wealth built on distraction will always collapse under its own weight. But wealth built on presence, that's unshakable. Because no market crash, no trend, no algorithm can take away the man who is calm within himself. So ask yourself, how much of my life am I paying for with my attention? And is the trade worth it? Don't let the noise of the world drown out the signal of your soul. Silence isn't empty, it's full of answers. Cinematic outro. One day you'll look back and realize the richest moments were not the loud ones. Not the wins, the likes, or the money. But the quiet ones, sipping coffee in peace, laughing with someone you love, watching the sunrise without needing to capture it. That's real wealth. Not in your account, but in your awareness. And if you can live from that place, you'll never be poor again. Because the man who owns his attention owns his life. And that is peace of mind. You were told that success requires sacrifice, that to build something great, you must suffer endlessly. But no one told you that sometimes you can sacrifice so much that you forget why you started. Men today are chasing a version of success that looks good on paper, but feels hollow in the heart. They wear exhaustion like a badge of honor, mistake burnout for progress, and call their emptiness ambition. The world glorifies the grind. It praises the man who never sleeps, who's always hustling, who's too busy to live. But here's the truth. A man who never rests isn't strong, he's afraid. Afraid of slowing down long enough to hear the voice inside him asking, "Is this really what I want?" You see, the modern man confuses motion with meaning. He builds an empire to escape his emptiness, not realizing that the emptiness follows him everywhere. The mansion, the cars, the applause, they all fade. But the question remains, who am I without all this? There's a Japanese proverb that says, "We begin to die the day we stop being quiet." Because stillness is not the absence of growth. It's the soil from which real growth begins. The samurai practiced this truth daily. They meditated before battle, not because they feared death, but because they needed peace to face it. They knew that true strength is calm, not chaos. But we've lost that wisdom. Now we chase chaos and call it courage. We mistake fatigue for fulfillment. And we wonder why we feel lost even after winning. The modern struggle isn't that men can't succeed, it's that they don't know what success means anymore. You might have the job, the respect, the comfort, and still feel trapped. Because you've built a life optimized for achievement, not alignment. You don't need to stop striving. You just need to remember what you're striving for. Ask yourself, what does wealth mean to me if I'm miserable getting it? What's the point of reaching the top if I lose my peace along the way? Here's the truth no one tells you. Peace doesn't come after success, it's what allows success to feel real. Without it, you'll forever be sprinting toward a finish line that keeps moving. Peace is not a prize, it's a practice. So today, take a step back from the noise and the chase. Ask yourself one simple question. What am I running from? Most men aren't chasing money, they're escaping insecurity. They're not chasing success, they're escaping insignificance. But you can't outrun what's inside you. You can only face it, breathe through it, and grow past it. Here's your exercise. Every night before you sleep, ask yourself 3 questions. 1. What gave me peace today? 2. What stole my peace today? 3. What can I let go of tomorrow to feel lighter? Write it down. Let it become your nightly ritual. Over time, you'll start to see patterns. You'll realize that peace is not random. It's earned through awareness and protected by boundaries. Protect your peace like a warrior guards his sword. Because in this world, distraction is the enemy and silence is your armor. Wealth isn't a race. It's a rhythm. And if you move to the rhythm of your own peace, you'll find that life stops feeling like a chase and starts feeling like flow. Imagine waking up one day and realizing you have enough money, enough purpose, enough time. That's not laziness. That's freedom. And that's what true wealth feels like. Remember, every time you trade your peace for progress, you're paying with something irreplaceable. But when you build from peace, everything you create carries that same energy, calm, steady, and lasting. Wealth built on peace grows. Wealth built on panic collapses. So slow down. Take a breath. You are not behind. You're just in a world moving too fast. The Stoics said, "He who hurries delays the things of life." And maybe they were right. Because the man who's always in a rush to make it never truly arrives. Cinematic outro. One day when the noise fades and the crowd stops clapping, you'll realize the only applause that ever mattered was the quiet one, the one inside your chest. That feeling when you're at peace, doing what you love, living life on your terms. That's the sound of real wealth. So stop running. Start living. Because someone once said, wealth is peace of mind. And maybe the reason you can't find peace is because you keep looking everywhere except within. We're taught to fight for more, but rarely to fight for peace. We're told to defend our success, but not our sanity. And in that silence, men have lost themselves, not to failure, but to noise. There's a kind of exhaustion that no vacation can fix. It's the fatigue of being everything to everyone, every day. The pressure to perform, to provide, to prove. Men today are overworked and underfulfilled. We chase goals that were never ours and wonder why happiness always feels out of reach. In 2025, it's easier than ever to look successful. You can curate the illusion of peace. A new car, a nice watch, a perfect feed. But when the lights go out, It's just you and your restless mind. And in that darkness, the truth echoes. You've been living for approval, not peace. The world sells us achievement like a drug. Hit one goal, you'll feel better. Reach one milestone, you'll finally relax. But every victory fades, and the craving begins again. Because external success can't fill an internal void. The philosopher Lao Tzu once wrote, "If you are depressed, you are living in the past. If you are anxious, you are living in the future. If you are at peace, you are living in the present." It's simple, but brutal in its honesty. Modern men live everywhere but here. Our minds are either reliving yesterday's mistakes or fearing tomorrow's failures. We rarely sit in today. And that's why peace feels so foreign. Think about it. When was the last time you were truly present? Not checking your phone, not thinking about what's next. Just here, breathing, noticing. For most, presence feels impossible. But that's not because it's rare. It's because it's unpracticed. We've trained ourselves to chase stimulation, not stillness. But real strength is learning to stay with yourself, even when it's uncomfortable. Because the truth is, a man who can sit quietly with his thoughts has mastered himself. The modern lie is that peace comes after success. The truth? Peace is the foundation of success. You don't achieve it at the end, you build from it at the beginning. A calm mind makes better decisions. A centered heart endures chaos. A peaceful man is dangerous, not because he's violent, but because he can't be manipulated. Here's a challenge for you. Start your mornings in silence. Before you touch your phone, sit for 5 minutes and do nothing. Notice your thoughts. Watch them pass. Don't judge them. Let the noise of your mind settle like dust in sunlight. It'll feel strange at first, maybe even uncomfortable. That's okay. Discomfort is the signal that you're detoxing from distraction. And the longer you stay with yourself, the more peace becomes familiar. This practice rewires your relationship with the world. You start to see how often people run from themselves, through consumption, through work, through endless scrolling. But when you stop running, when you face your own silence, you realize peace was never gone, you were. Peace is not a luxury. It's a necessity. You can live without a mansion, but not without inner stillness. Because without peace, nothing you build will last. Imagine 2 men building a house. One builds on shifting sand, stress, ego, insecurity. The other builds on solid ground, patience, awareness, calm. The first man's house looks impressive, but one storm and it's gone. The second man's house stands for decades. That's what peace does. It makes your foundation unshakable. So stop chasing the next thing and start protecting what's within. You can't control the economy, the algorithm, or other people's opinions, but you can control your response. You can choose to breathe before reacting, to pause before deciding, to rest before breaking. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. Peace is not passive. It's power under control. And when you start living from that power, something changes. You stop over-explaining. You stop overcompensating. You stop needing to prove. You become the calm in the storm, not the one swept away by it. Remember, you don't need to escape the noise of the world. You need to stop letting it live in you. When you find that stillness, you realize peace is not somewhere you go. It's something you carry. Cinematic outro. One day the noise will fade. The career, the trophies, the applause, they'll all quiet down. And what will remain is the sound of your own breath, steady and calm. That's the sound of freedom. That's the rhythm of peace. And maybe that's what wealth truly means, not the power to control everything, but the strength to be unbothered by anything. Because someone once said, wealth is peace of mind. And they were right. The richest man is the one who can close his eyes and feel nothing pulling him away from this moment. Only stillness, only gratitude, only peace. There is a silent war happening inside modern men, a war between 2 versions of themselves. One lives for applause, the other lives for peace. One is fueled by fear of being nobody, the other is built on the calm of being enough. And every decision you make, every day, strengthens one and starves the other. Scroll long enough and you'll believe that life is a scoreboard. Your value becomes a number. Income, followers, muscles, status, attention. And without even noticing, you begin to perform instead of live. You say yes when you mean no, work when you are empty, Force optimism when you are cracking inside. Because anything is better than being seen as weak. That is the silent prison. Men in 2025 are not chained by iron, but expectation. They wear masks for so long they forget their own face. They chase validation from people they wouldn't even call in an emergency. And deep down they know this is not freedom, it is slavery with luxury packaging. The ancients knew this temptation. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." He didn't talk about bank accounts or achievements, he talked about self-governance. Because a man who cannot say enough will never feel rich. A man who cannot be alone will never feel whole. A man who needs the world to approve him will never rest. We live under constant comparison. Your success is no longer measured against your father or your neighbor, but against the entire planet in real time. That is a losing game, because there will always be someone with more. And so you trade peace for pace, dignity for image, sanity for illusion. But here is the reveal. The opposite of poverty is not wealth. The opposite of poverty is sufficiency. A man becomes rich the moment he stops needing more to feel worthy. The moment he looks at his life and says, "This is mine, and it is enough for now." That is not complacency, that is stability. Only from stability can you build without panic. The application is simple but brutal. Practice intentional deprivation. One day each week, deny yourself something that normally owns you. No social media. No online shopping. No YouTube. No sugar. No coffee. Remove one dependency and watch the panic rise, then fall. That discomfort is your freedom muscle growing. You are teaching your nervous system that you are not owned by craving. Because if you need anything external to feel okay, you are not wealthy, you are leased. And what is leased can be repossessed at any time. So begin to build a different kind of wealth. The kind that stays even when money leaves. The kind that remains even when people walk away. The kind that cannot be threatened, canceled, or stolen. Peace of mind is the only form of wealth that survives every season. Ask yourself, would I still respect myself if no one could see my life? If the answer is no, then you are living for witnesses, not for your soul. And that is why you feel restless. You are acting for an audience instead of building a life you deeply own. Bring your peace back within your jurisdiction. Decide who you will be when no one is clapping. Decide what your days would look like if the world turned silent. Then start living closer to that, even as the noise remains. This is how men become unshakable, not by escaping the world, but by withdrawing permission from it. A peaceful man is not a man without battles. He is the man who chooses them wisely. He no longer bleeds for every opinion, every comparison, every temptation. He protects his internal territory the way a king guards a throne, quietly, relentlessly, without apology. Because there comes a moment in every man's life when he must choose, impress the world or own himself. You cannot do both. Cinematic outro. At the end of your life, no one will replay your highlights the way your mind will replay your unrest. The only victory that matters is dying with a mind that is not at war with itself. Wealth is not the roar of admiration. It is the quiet of a soul that needs nothing to feel whole. Someone once said, "Wealth is peace of mind." They were right. Because when your mind is at peace, every other form of wealth becomes a bonus, not a lifeline. There comes a point in a man's life when he realizes something terrifying. He has built everything except himself. He has upgraded his phone, his car, his income, his wardrobe, his body, but not his inner world. And when the noise finally dies down, he discovers the truth. Comfort without peace is still suffering. Look at the world around you. Men are not breaking because life is hard, but because their minds are untrained. They feel lost not because they lack tools, but because they lack stillness. They are restless not because they lack success, but because they have no anchor inside. We live in an age where everyone is trying to escape their own head. Constant music, constant scrolling, constant stimulation. Anything to avoid being alone with one's thoughts. But if you cannot sit alone with yourself, you are not living, you are fleeing. Musashi, the undefeated samurai, wrote, "From one thing, know 10,000 things." He meant that mastery of self reveals mastery of life. If you can conquer your inner chaos, the outer world cannot defeat you. But if the mind is unrolled, no victory will feel enough. The reveal is simple. It is not a lack of money, love, success, or opportunity that breaks men. It is the lack of inner quiet. Men don't need more achievement. They need a place inside themselves that cannot be touched by the market, the government, the critics, or the trends. So here is the application for the final chapter. Before the day begins, perform a mental audit. Ask 3 simple questions. 1. What am I afraid will happen if I stop chasing for a moment? 2. What do I believe I must earn before I allow myself to feel peace? 3. Who taught me that rest must be deserved instead of practiced? Write the answers. Expose the lies to daylight, because unspoken beliefs own you. Named beliefs weaken. Then build your own sanctuary. Not a place, but a rule. 1 hour a day with no input and no output. No consumption. No productivity. Just existence. Because peace cannot be downloaded, it must be carved. And here is the terror and beauty of peace. Once you taste it, the old life will feel unlivable. You will no longer tolerate certain people, certain habits, certain environments, because chaos becomes recognizable as poverty. You begin to choose calm over ego, presence over pleasure, alignment over applause. That is the moment you become wealthy, not when you can buy anything, but when nothing can buy you. The man with peace is the man who cannot be recruited by fear, sold by envy, or steered by noise. He does not chase, he attracts. He does not plead, he selects. He does not react, he observes. He becomes rare, and what is rare becomes powerful. Because in a world of frantic men, stillness is superiority. Remember this truth as you leave this series. The greatest threat to your freedom has never been the world, but your own ungoverned mind. And the greatest treasure you could ever accumulate is not applause, wealth, or legacy, but a life you can sit inside without needing escape. Cinematic outro. One day the race will end. The noise will fade. The faces will leave. The achievements will be forgotten. And you will stand alone with only one asset left, the state of your mind. If in that moment you can close your eyes and feel no storm, no hunger, no unresolved war inside your chest, then you have lived as a rich man. Because someone once said, wealth is peace of mind. They were right. Nothing you can hold in your hands will ever rival the power of a life that feels quiet on the inside.